I'm ready to help you with your script. Here's the rewritten first part. There's a crucial truth that every high-value man knows. Respect isn't something you demand, it's something you live by. The harsh reality is that women don't respect your words. They respect your boundaries. They value your strength and what you stand firm against far more than what you agree to. Many men lose their partner not when their love fades, but when they stop commanding respect. If she no longer sees you as a man, it's often because you've handed over your power in countless small ways. But this stops now. I'm here to share the 5 most powerful boundaries you'll ever need, not to control her, but to gain control over yourself so profoundly that she has no choice but to reassess how she views you. If you're ready to embrace this journey, drop a comment below saying, "I choose respect." Number 1, never reward disrespect. If there's one hard truth every man must confront, it's this: the moment you accept disrespect, you become replaceable in her eyes. It doesn't matter how much you've invested in the relationship, how long you've been together, or how deep you think your connection is. The instant she realizes that you'll tolerate being belittled, ignored, challenged without justification, or subtly insulted, that you'll remain loyal while she chips away at your dignity, she stops seeing you as a man worthy of her respect. Instead, she starts viewing you as someone she can use. Painful as this truth might be, it's where your real power begins. A woman will never genuinely respect a man who continues to show up for her after she has crossed his boundaries. She may tolerate him, keep him around for comfort or convenience, but in her heart, she no longer admires him. She no longer feels inspired by him. She might say she loves him, but pay attention to her tone, her eyes, and how she communicates with him when no one else is watching. That's where the truth lies. Respect isn't found in compliments, it's reflected in the consistency of how she treats you when she doesn't feel the need to impress you. When you tolerate disrespect, whether it's staying silent after she mocks you, apologizing for something she did wrong, or showing up after she ghosted you for hours, you sent a clear message: my self-worth depends on your attention. And that's a recipe for disaster when it comes to desire. Here's what you need to grasp. Women don't test you out of cruelty. They do it instinctively to gauge your strength. A man without boundaries isn't a safe space. He's a soft space, and soft spaces get walked on rather than walked with. When she tests your values, direction, or authority, and you back down, she doesn't feel loved. She feels unsafe. A man who can't protect his own dignity can't protect a woman either. So how do you turn this around? How do you start building that quiet respect that makes her eyes soften and her voice calm when she speaks to you? You create consequences without chaos. You become the man who never shouts, begs, or explains, but also never tolerates disrespect, not even once. Let me break it down for you. First, learn to recognize disrespect in all its forms. It's not just about yelling or name-calling. It's when she constantly interrupts you, mocks your goals, brings up her ex in front of you to provoke a reaction, texts other men and calls you insecure for questioning it, or gives you the silent treatment instead of engaging in mature communication. All of these are micro-attacks on your soul. Second, address it directly, calmly, and without emotion. For example, you could say, "Don't speak to me that way again. If it happens again, I'm done." You don't repeat yourself and you don't argue. If it happens again, you leave. No games, no rage, just clarity. When you handle it this way, 2 things can occur. She either steps up or she walks away. And if she chooses to walk away, good. That's one less energy-draining parasite in your life. It's one step closer to becoming the man who commands respect from everyone, not just women. This isn't merely about dating. It's about how you navigate through life with your boss, friends, and family. How you allow people to treat you defines your worth. You need to start standing firm in your standards, not out of ego, but out of necessity. A man without boundaries becomes exhausted. He burns out, resents everyone, and eventually he either explodes or crumbles. In contrast, a man who honors himself becomes solid and focused. He crafts a life that aligns deeply with who he is, allowing only those who respect him to enter it. This isn't arrogance, it's evolution. Practically speaking, this means doing what 99% of men won't do. If she flakes on you, don't chase her. If she mocks your values, don't justify yourself. If she tests you with drama, don't react. You set the standard. You leave the table whenever disrespect is served. Not just once, but every time. If she wants to earn her way back into your life, she'll have to do it through consistent behavior, not empty apologies. Never let your emotions override your execution. You're either training her to respect you or allowing her to run circles around you. How do I resist folding when I miss her, or when she's the only woman I've ever loved? Here's the tough truth. If you're addicted to her attention, it indicates you're not building anything in your own life that's worth being addicted to. Redirect that obsession. Pour it into strengthening your body, because a strong body leads to a strong mind. Wake up earlier than you want to. Go for a run when your mind says to rest. Lift weights until your arms feel numb. That pain transforms into power, which builds discipline, leading to clarity. Start that business you've been contemplating for years. Create something that doesn't rely on anyone's approval. Learn a new skill that enhances your value, not just to women, but to the world. Stop scrolling for dopamine hits and start creating. Write, build, move. Embrace solitude, not as a victim, but as a warrior sharpening his edge. Read, study, take cold showers, not for trends, but to remind yourself that you choose discomfort because you control your world now. Clean your room, organize your finances, cut off weak friends. Avoid places where people drain your energy. Establish a personal code and stick to it with unwavering precision. When you stop tolerating disrespect from her, you also stop accepting mediocrity within yourself. That transformation is what allows you to command respect instead of merely seeking it. People will sense it. Your presence will shift the atmosphere. Your eyes will communicate before your mouth does. You'll evolve into a man others either fear or admire, but never ignore. One day, the same woman who once played games with you will see you again, and she won't even recognize you. You won't need to say a word. She'll know. She'll feel it. She'll realize she lost access to something she can never reclaim, and that realization will haunt her more than anything you could ever say. That's how you rise. That's how you become unshakable, by drawing a line and standing behind it, even if it means standing alone. Start now. Your time isn't infinite. Every second you tolerate disrespect is a second delaying your greatness. Don't wait for rock bottom. Build your foundation now and never reward disrespect again. Let me know when you're ready for the next part. Number 2, guard your peace. If there's one thing that will define your life as a man, it's this. Peace isn't something you stumble into, it's something you defend, as if your life depends on it, because it does. A man who lacks peace wakes up every day on edge, pulled in countless directions, constantly reacting to everything around him in survival mode. He's not truly living, he's merely performing for women, friends, family, and people who wouldn't care if he crumbled tomorrow. There comes a time when every man must realize that his peace is his power. It's not money, cars, status, women, or clout. It's peace. Because when you're at peace, your decisions are no longer reactive, they're intentional. You don't jump at insults, explain yourself to doubters, get rattled by someone walking out, or chase validation that costs your soul. Peace is the ultimate flex, and it's invisible. You walk into rooms and people can feel it. You speak and others listen, not because you shout, but because your silence carries weight. Most men don't guard their peace, they leak it. They respond instantly to every text, step into every argument, tolerate chaotic people, say yes to favors out of guilt, and engage in late-night conversations with women who never respected them in daylight. Each moment spent explaining your worth is a leak. Over time, these leaks drain you dry until all that's left is a hollow shell wearing the mask of someone who used to dream. You cannot build an empire with a chaotic mind. You cannot lead a relationship with an anxious soul. You cannot earn respect while constantly seeking relief from others because you never gave yourself peace. Women notice this immediately. They can when your attention is scattered, when your time isn't sacred, when your space lacks discipline, and when your schedule is open to whatever mood she's in that day. That doesn't make her love you more. It makes her feel like she's steering the ship. And no woman respects a man who needs to be led. So, what does it mean to guard your peace? It means becoming unavailable to chaos, not as a defense mechanism, but as a conscious design of your life. Examine every input, your phone, relationships, habits, calendar, and ask yourself, does this protect or poison my peace? If it poisons it, cut it out immediately. No second chances, no dramatic exits, just gone. You don't argue anymore because arguments require you to prove yourself. Men at peace don't need to explain themselves to chaos. You don't chase anymore because chasing pulls you out of presence. You don't scroll endlessly because every scroll is a choice to numb instead of build. You don't sleep in because sleeping in signals to your soul that your life isn't urgent. You don't talk to everyone because access to you is sacred. Peace also involves setting boundaries without explanations. You say no, and that's it. Leave texts unanswered if they come from those who never contributed to your peace. Stop attending gatherings where gossip is the main currency. Let people call you arrogant or cold because they used to feed off your availability. Let them miss you. Let them wonder what changed. While they're talking, you're building something solid, a life where you choose who enters. Not a life where you're trying to be liked by everyone who doesn't even like themselves. Wake up early, not because it's trendy, but because those hours before the world wakes up are your fortress. Read not to appear smart, but to remind yourself how small your problems are. Take walks alone, not out of loneliness, but because peace walks with the man who can be alone without feeling lonely. Train your body not for six-pack validation, but because physical discipline is spiritual warfare. Keep your space clean, not to impress a date, but because chaos cannot survive where order resides. Peace is power because the man who owns his mind owns his world. The man who cannot be lured into arguments, chaos, drama, guilt, urgency, or distraction is untouchable. That's what women want, but can never articulate. That's what employers trust. That's what friends respect. And that's what other men observe and think he's different. You have to understand that when a woman creates emotional noise, she's not trying to destroy you, she's testing your limits. She wants to know if your world bends when she leans too hard. So, when she starts a fight out of nowhere, asks loaded questions, or pulls away to gauge your reaction, she's not trying to hurt you. She's trying to find your core. If every time she pokes you, you jump, there's no core, just reaction. But if you remain calm, hold the silence longer than her confusion, and respond only when you choose to, you don't just guard your peace, you announce that it's non-negotiable. Eventually, she'll either adapt to your frequency or she'll exit your life, and both outcomes are wins. The moment you start sacrificing your peace to keep someone around is the moment you lose yourself. If you lose yourself, there's no point in being loved because the man she loves is gone. What's the value of love if it requires your soul as collateral? If you want to change your life, build a peace so strong it offends those who live in chaos, a peace so genuine that you no longer flinch when people say you've changed, a peace that draws in the right people and pushes out the wrong ones. Ironically, when you live this way, everything you use to chase validation, love, attention, respect starts chasing you. Now you're the rare man, the one who doesn't need the world to see him to feel whole. That peace will heal you. It will sharpen your decisions. It will reveal your true friends. It will teach you how to love without losing yourself, and it will create a foundation that no setback, woman, betrayal, or loss can shake. Guard it like gold because it is. Once you own it, you'll never trade it for chaos again. Let me know when you're ready for the final part. Number 3, don't share too much. Here's the truth. She doesn't want to know everything about you, even if she claims she does. What she truly desires is to feel your depth without diving into it every single day. She wants to discover you gradually, not carry the weight of your emotional world. The moment you start opening up the floodgates to every emotion, doubt, wound, and overthought dream, you risk becoming a project for her instead of a partner. And let's be clear, women don't fall in love with projects. They fall in love with men who can carry their own weight, speak when it matters, and maintain enough mystery to remain magnetic. You've probably been told your whole life to open up, to be vulnerable, to share more of yourself. But let's take a step back and ask, how has that really served you? Did she pull you closer when you confessed your anxieties? Did she admire you more when you shed tears over life's unfairness? Or did you notice a subtle shift in her eyes where she began to see you less as her protector and more as her emotional equal? While it sounds noble to be openly vulnerable, the reality is that when you unload your emotional burdens onto her, she may comfort you, but she no longer craves you. There's a sacred distance that preserves the polarity between a man and a woman. Not dishonesty, not coldness, but distance. It's the space between what she thinks you are and what she still doesn't fully know. That mystery is the fire that keeps her intrigued and guessing. When you eliminate that mystery, you extinguish the tension, and when tension dies, so does desire. This isn't to say you shouldn't have emotions. You're not a robot. You bleed, you struggle, you doubt. But the difference between a respected man and a tolerated man lies in how he carries those emotions. A respected man feels deeply but moves intentionally. He never allows his pain to become someone else's responsibility. He doesn't weaponize his story for sympathy or collapse under the weight of his past. Instead, he integrates his experiences quietly and steadily, often alone. When you share everything too soon, you create emotional clutter. She doesn't know how to process all of it. Instead of feeling close, she begins to feel smothered. Rather than respecting your openness, she questions your stability. And instead of leaning in, she pulls away, not out of cruelty, but because instinctively she wants to lean on you, not become your savior. There's a reason the most respected men you know rarely talk about themselves. They offer glimpses, not blueprints. They provide presence, not explanations. They don't chase connection through confession. They act to be respected. That respect fosters intimacy far deeper than anything words could ever convey. If you want to change your life, start treating your story like a treasure chest, not a brochure. Let her earn access to you over time. Allow her to wonder what drives you. Let her feel the silence and choose to lean in closer. When she asks questions, respond just enough to make her curious for more. You're not hiding, you're preserving polarity. You're cultivating depth. You're building intrigue, the fuel that keeps attraction alive long after the honeymoon phase ends. Most men mistakenly believe that talking equals connection. They think if she knows everything, she'll never leave. But the opposite is true. She doesn't leave because she doesn't know enough. She leaves because you laid everything bare up front, leaving nothing left to pursue. She stops viewing you as a challenge and starts seeing you as predictable, and predictability is the enemy of attraction. This isn't about manipulation, it's about mastery, emotional mastery, and strategic vulnerability. It's the kind of openness that comes with control. You don't bottle everything up, but you also don't bleed out. You share your truth when it's time, not when you're uncomfortable. You reveal your struggles when it serves a purpose, not when you crave a shoulder to lean on. You disclose your heart in doses that amplify your strength rather than replace it. Stop trying to be relatable. In your attempt to be understood, you soften the very edge that made her first look at you differently. You don't need to relate all the time. You need to radiate confidence and strength. Hold your ground when she disagrees. Be okay with her not getting you right away. That's what builds tension. That's what keeps her chasing after you. Your peace isn't a group project. Your mission isn't a team effort. Your vision is not up for debate. When you share it too freely, it becomes diluted. When you overshare your insecurities, they turn into weapons in the wrong hands. When you speak every time you feel something, you transform into a speaker, not a leader. Instead, practice the power of presence. Sit with your pain. Journal your thoughts. Take your confusion and turn it into action. Construct a fortress around your emotional worlds so strong that only those who earn it can enter. And when they do, don't drown them in emotion. Invite them to witness your resilience. Don't break down. Open up like a sunrise, slow, intentional, beautiful, and earned. That's how you become unforgettable, not by how much you shared, but by how much you carried without making her bear the load with you. The more you practice this, the more magnetic you become. Now you're rare. You're not just a man with a story or a man with a center. A man who doesn't merely survive life, he navigates it with calm, mystery, and the quiet strength of someone who knows who he is and doesn't need the world to validate it. This is how you keep her attention. This is how you maintain your edge. This is how you stay respected not just in relationships, but in every room you walk into. Let me know when you're ready for the final part. Number 4, no emotional reactivity control isn't about being devoid of emotions, it's about mastering them. A man who cannot be swayed emotionally by someone else is beginning to grasp the roots of his strength. It's not that he doesn't feel, it's that he's no longer enslaved by those feelings in the moment. The world wants you reactive, and women often test for reactivity. Weak men live in a state of constant reaction. But the man who can remain still during storms, that's the man who silently dominates. Picture this. She throws a curveball your way. Maybe it's a sudden shift in her tone, a sarcastic comment, or an unexplained withdrawal of attention. Immediately, your stomach drops. Your mind races, and your words chase hers, like wind trying to hold on to water. That right there is emotional reactivity. It's when your inner world becomes subject to her external behavior. Once she realizes she has that kind of power over you, the dynamic begins to rot slowly, deeply, and permanently. This isn't about becoming cold or indifferent. This is about being sovereign, emotionally sovereign. It's about feeling fully without allowing those feelings to dictate your actions. You need to be the kind of man who can stand firm in front of a woman testing your limits, a boss questioning your value, or a stranger disrespecting you without losing your composure. You don't need to lash out, explain, or plead. Instead, remain rooted, unshaken, present, and powerful without making noise. Women test for this calmness because it signals whether you're real, stable, and if your strength is situational or foundational. When you pass that test, she doesn't just relax, she melts. In a world full of men who fold under pressure, the man who remains unflinching is a revelation. However, you can't fake this. You can't pretend to be calm while boiling underneath. It starts much deeper than that, with owning your triggers. Face the parts of yourself that flinch when someone disapproves, that panic when someone pulls away, or that rush to defend yourself when someone questions your motives. Look those parts in the eye and say, "You don't lead me anymore." Become aware of your impulses. Instead of obeying them, observe them. That space, the gap between stimulus and response, is where kings are born. This practice transforms you. You start noticing what others overlook. You begin to hear what's behind her words instead of merely reacting to the words themselves. You stop needing to have the last word. You cease defending your character to people who aren't qualified to judge it. You start living like your attention is gold because it truly is. If someone wants access to it, they better come correct. This shift also changes how others respond to you. Those who used to provoke you will get frustrated because they can't move you anymore. They'll start questioning their own approach. Meanwhile, those who respect strength will gravitate towards you because calm attracts clarity, and clarity repels chaos. You'll notice that you talk less, you move slower, you observe more, you wait, you study. You no longer react to her changing moods, her silence, or her indirectness. You understand that her emotions are hers, and if you can be the container for her waves without drowning in them, she will trust you more than any man she's ever known. Not because you saved her, but because you didn't lose yourself in the process. In life, this ability to maintain emotional control is a superpower that elevates you above most men. Most men are slaves to their emotions, camouflaged as passion. They fight battles that don't matter, burn bridges because their egos were bruised, and chase arguments to defend their fragile pride. But you exit chaos like it's beneath you because it is. You don't get pulled into unnecessary drama. Instead, you walk around it, above it, or through it without engaging. You'll walk into a meeting where your ideas are questioned and you'll smile calmly. You'll experience betrayal from a friend, and instead of retaliating, you'll disappear like oxygen from fire. You'll hear rumors about yourself and choose to say nothing because truth doesn't panic. You'll be ghosted, rejected, overlooked, and you won't crumble. Instead, you'll rise quietly with purpose. No emotional reactivity means you stop handing over the steering wheel of your life every time you feel something. You start choosing your direction with discipline. And that discipline builds your kingdom one boundary at a time. Number 5, always be willing to walk away. Too many men find themselves stuck in jobs that drain them, in relationships that emasculate them, and in friendships that disrespect them. They stay put because they're afraid of being alone, afraid of starting over, and afraid of what the world might think. So they shrink. They smile through the discomfort and tell themselves it's not that bad. Slowly, they become invisible, not just to others, but to themselves. But the man who is willing to walk away from anything that insults his soul, that man is terrifying. He's magnetic because he doesn't cling to comfort. He stays only when it aligns with his standards. The moment something doesn't meet those standards, he's gone. This principle is especially crucial in relationships. Women can sense when you're staying out of addiction to their presence rather than because they bring peace, growth, and purpose into your life. The first type of man gets tested relentlessly. The second type? She watches herself around him, brings her best self forward, and understands that he'll leave the moment she stops respecting what he brings to the table. Walking away doesn't mean you're heartless. It means you're loyal to yourself above all else. It's saying, I love you, but I love my values more. I love my peace more. I love the man I'm becoming more. That kind of detachment isn't cold, it's divine. It frees you from begging for crumbs and elevates your circle. It purifies your space and reminds you that nothing is worth keeping if it costs you your identity. When you live this way, people either rise to meet your level or they exit your life. There's no middle ground, and that's the point. Your standards become the filter. Over time, everything left in your life reflects who you are at your highest, not your most fearful self. You must become so secure in your self-worth that you can walk away from pleasure, comfort, attention, validation, and even love if it means protecting your mission. That's when you become truly dangerous, not to others, but to mediocrity, codependence, and anything that tries to cage you. Here's what most people won't tell you. The real growth happens after you walk away. The strength, clarity, and expansion don't come while you're holding on. They come in the silence that follows your final step away. In that space, you meet the next version of yourself, the one who no longer tolerates chaos for company, the one who no longer begs or stays just to feel needed. Be willing to walk away from anything that makes you forget who you are. Once you do, You'll never beg, chase, or tolerate disrespect again. The moment you choose self-respect over comfort, your life begins not just your relationships or confidence, but your entire existence. The man you once were fades away, and the man you're becoming emerges. He doesn't chase approval. He builds standards. He doesn't fold under pressure. He sharpens in silence. He doesn't seek to be understood. He seeks to be undeniable. You were never meant to live on your knees for love, attention, or acceptance. You were meant to walk in power, quietly, calmly, with the unshakable knowledge that respect is not something you demand, it's something you design. If you felt that shifted deep within your core, don't let it fade. Lock it in. This isn't the end, it's the start of a new era for you, a version of yourself that no longer tolerates being less than he was born to be. If this message resonated with you, if it reminded you of the man you were always meant to become, then subscribe to the channel. Share this video with a friend. Comment below, I choose respect over validation. Because when you support this movement, you're not just helping this channel grow, you're helping another man finally hear what no one ever told him. Let me know if you need any further assistance.